Imagine when I'm pulling off the lot, the new coming out the top. With Simone, I ain't never gonna stop. I'm on, I ain't never gonna stop. I'm the man. Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, fam. We're back. Happy Saturday. I do feel like one of the most overworked but blessed men there is. Do I work? That is a dumb question. Yes, I work. I also do YouTube. You know that, and that's why you are here. Let's get into the purpose of today's video. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Today I'm gonna give y'all some of these gang stories, things I saw. Very, valid reasons on why I ain't never joined no gang. Gang. Nah, not here, not me. I wasn't that guy. Now, if this don't apply to you, let it fly. But if you feel some type of way about this video, then that means you were probably doing some of that was mentioned in this video, or you're one of those type of guys. Like I said, if you didn't do none of that, you didn't act like that, conduct yourself like that, doesn't apply to you, let it fly. But if you do catch feelings, then you're probably one of these type of dudes I'm talking about. I seen a whole bunch of nonsense when it came to the gangs. Things that just made an unpleasant situation, which is incarceration, prison, the penitentiary, the penal system, even more uncomfortable. There was a time when all you had to be was a man, and all you had to do was stand up for yourself. Mano y mano, you versus him. And then as the gangs integrated and got woven into the fabric and the fibers that make the system what it is, all that changed. You get to beefing with him, and because he's affiliated with them, you and him can't even see each other one-on-one. You got to deal with him and all of them. But we got smart when it came to the gangs. Some of us. And we figured out how to deal with those type of situations. That's a no-win situation. There's too many of them. So I'm going to catch him by himself. And I know that after I do what I do to him, I'm going to have repercussions coming at me from them guys. So when I get a hold of him, I'm going to make an example out of him. That's what I'm going to give y'all today. Some of these examples, some of these times when what you crying for? Stop screaming. Your homeboys can't save you now. That set shit don't mean nothing. It's me and you. I deal with them when I'm done with you. With all that being said, man, you know how to seen it, you know how to lived it, so let's relive it. Damn camera does make me look like I'm losing weight. I've been 197 for months now. I can't seem to drop below 197. I'm like 197.1. Yeah, anyways, in my life I have traveled. Hear me out now. I have not traveled as much as a lot of men. I've never left the United States, but I've traveled. And the stupid criminal lifestyle that I led, it caused me to have to run a lot. I'm one of them guys that I'll take off. I didn't the last go round. I manned up. I knew I was going to prison. I knew in order to ever be a father, I had to answer for what I had done. I had to get it behind me. But I had traveled. I lived in different states. In the streets of Philly, never seen the gang stuff. Never. Shout out and salute to Philly 215 in the house. Illinois was way different. Living out there, you seen a lot of GDs, Gangster Disciples, BGDs, Vice Lords, Latin Kings. There was more of those than anything where I was living. I was living in Danville, Tilton, Champaign, Urbana area in Illinois, off of Oak Street for my Danville dudes that are out in Illinois. A lot of BGDs, GDs, and Vice Lords, Latin Kings, all throughout there. But you didn't see a lot of the Bloods and the Crips. Going into the jail here in this state, that's primarily what you saw was the #1 gang being the Blood Cats of all different sets. There's a lot of Bloods. Second coming in would have been the Crip sets. Then you had the GD sets, Folk Nation, all this and that. Didn't see many Kings, Serenos, MS-13s, yada, yada, yada. I seen a lot of that. Early on, it wasn't in the jail, and it was like, I'm one of them guys that would do a stint, come home for a couple months, and I wouldn't be out long, and my ignorance would have me locked right back up. So as time progressed with the jails, the gangs grew. I remember being a teenager and going to jail for the first time. You didn't have to really worry about the gangs like that. You had to worry about the other dudes in there that were savages. And if you got into it, there might be a chance that that guy would have a couple homeboys that were going to try to bank you or jump on you. But you really didn't have to worry about having an issue with a man and what 50, 100, 200 other inmates might think. Throughout my jail bids, I seen the gangs start to grow. And one thing, and like I said, if it don't apply, that most of this had in common were the guys they were recruiting. It's not like it was guys that were coming in there that were knocking dudes' head off on one-on-one occasions, or guys that were really known for getting down and gritty that were running over to join the gangs. The gangs were more or less recruiting the guys that were coming in that were real quiet, standoffish. That in another world, in another universe, without the gangs, at another time, they may have became victim. So you can use your common sense. You come in there, the gang is going to extort you, the gang is going to rob you, they're going to beat you up. How do you avoid that? You go join the gang. Right or wrong? I'm right because I've seen it. Then you got guys that are just plain out scared. They don't want to see that one-on-one. They know that if me and you have a situation and you're not gang related, I can grab a hold of you and I can do whatever I want to. But all you have to do is have ties to any organization in here. And well, they're not going to allow that. You can run your little mouth, and I might think twice before I do something to you. Because damn, there's a lot of them. They're not always going to be able to save you. But we'll get into that. Going into prison, prison is flooded with gangs. Everywhere you look, you see certain handshakes. You see people throwing up gang signs, gang calls. There's different calls they shout out to acknowledge each other. Each set has their own. What is the sets people throw up. You learn who is who just by watching who these guys will affiliate with. As soon as I come in, I see dudes that they throw up this certain set with their hand. All right, I know what they are. I see guys that walk from over here and go hang out with them. All right, I know what he is. And so on and so on when it comes to the gangs. You can literally look and spot the gangs. When I came through receiving, and here in Virginia and most states, you have to go through a receiving center. A receiving center, there's a lot of different places that do receiving. This is a place that no matter what your crime is, everybody has to go through receiving. That's where you get classified. If you're a guy that likes to steal out of Walmart and you've got petty crimes, well, they're going to send you to a level 1 prison on a level 1 yard. That's receiving place classification. Within the next 30 to 45 days, they're going to look through your file, figure out where you're going, and they're going to make sure you get off to the right prison you're supposed to be to. But everybody starts off there together. So you could be Mr. Sticky Fingers, Johnny Steals a lot, and be bunked up with somebody that likes to kill a lot. They mix everybody in there. And that's one of the most chaotic times of being incarcerated. Because you got guys in there that don't really understand how serious this is. That might have been sentenced to a year, running around playing like stuff's sweet. And you got a man sitting on there in his bunk that's still trying to mentally come to terms with the fact that he was just given life. Or life plus 600. That man's not with the gangs all day. But these guys were joining the gang as soon as they got to receiving. Which made me question a lot of the authenticity of these gangs. I've since learned that a lot of these gangs aren't even real. It was real to them, but these guys get out of jail and they're claiming this and they're claiming that. And somebody that's really with that set pulls up on them and says, who's your big homie? Who are you under? And they check their knowledge, and the next thing you know, they're getting stomped out because they were misled. They got jumped in this gang in prison, did their whole bid thinking this gang was real, got out of prison, and got beat the hell up because turns out that was just a prison gang. Receiving is when I got my first real dose. And I told you they were in the jail. My first real dose of how prison was going to be. Receiving set the tone. It set the pace for what was to come. Now, B, I can respect, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. But if you're going to take something from a man, take it from him. I can respect that. Walk up, make yourself known, and if you're man enough, take my stuff. The stealing, I can't respect that. In no way, shape, or form do I respect a thief. If you've got to wait till my back is turned, or until I'm not around to take my stuff, well, to me, you're a whole entire bitch, and you know that. I saw the gangs doing this. The gangs. Y'all are 30 deep. If y'all want that man's stuff, go take it from him. Test his gangster. Go make yourself known. But they weren't doing that. They were waiting until guys would go to chow. They were waiting until they would call yard and would go out on the yard, and then they would creep up through the aisles, go to somebody's locker, have somebody standing there watching. Operation Steal the Chips and potato chips and soups and sodas, candy bars, crackhead stuff. And they would peel these boys' lockers open and steal their stuff. Then these dudes would come back. Who stole my stuff? Whoever stole it, your mamas, your daddies, I hope your kids, they would go in. Now, you know what these dudes that stole their stuff would do? Meanwhile, homeboy's over there snapping. He's a real savage. Snatch a hold of any one of them one-on-one and break them in half. They stole his stuff. He's disrespecting. They're not saying nothing. You so gangster, where's it all at? I couldn't respect. So let me re-straighten this, because I just realized I said something I don't fully agree with. If you want to take my stuff, you come take my stuff. You plus 30? I don't respect that. You picking on somebody weaker than you with 30 guys behind you, I don't respect that. I remember a time when equaled up guys of the same caliber would go at it. Not just go pick on somebody because he's smaller than you. Not just go pick on somebody because you know you can beat him up. Or not go do it because you got all these guys behind you. I don't respect that. I respect the mano y mano, me versus you. We've had words. Here I come. This is what it is. That's what I respect. Receiving was chaotic. I've seen every and anything you could think about take place when it came to disrespect and receiving. I hated receiving. And then at the very end of my bid, I had to go to reentry, which is very much like receiving. A lot of these guys in there have only been locked up 2 years, and now they're going home. Here I am at the end of a 10-year sentence, having to be around guys that are playing all day, that have barely done any time, and they don't know how much time I've done. They don't know that guy over there is at the end of a 40-year sentence, and these guys are still in their little childish mind state. I ran into a guy of Greensville many, many years after being in receiving, that for the longest time, I couldn't place where I knew him from. Now, Greensville was gangland. But when I say gangland, it was gangland. The chances of you getting a one-on-one fight were slim to none. Unless you got into it with a guy that was not gang affiliated, or you grabbed a hold of him and made sure nobody else could, intervene. But I run across this guy named John Black, and I think I talked about John Black in the past, that I could not place. Where do I know this guy from? Is he from my city? Did I do time with him in jail? Was I in the detention center with him? Where do I know him from? I heard people say his name. Hey, John Black. And I recognize the name. I remember the name. He had this crunchy ass skin. And when I say crunchy, looked like he had real bad acne as a teenager. And he had all the acne scars. And he was just midnight, no moon in the sky, black. Hence is his name, John Black. But I couldn't place him. We have a conversation one day because he keeps looking at me. So general rule is, if me and you make eye contact more than a couple times, one of us is going to go, hey, check the other. What's up, huh? We keep looking eye to eye. What, you trying to take me on a date or something? Do you know me? Something you want to get off your chest? But we kept making eye contact. And that was because we both, I could tell it wasn't no beef. It was, we recognized each other somewhere. Friend or foe? State your biz. So I approach him. Yo, I don't know gangster stuff, not aggressively, but I approached the dude one day in the pod. Hey, where do I know you from, huh? And he's sitting there, he's like, you do look familiar. I've seen you somewhere too. Where you from? He's from Tidewater. I'm from Richmond. So that's dead. I don't know you from the streets. I don't know you from the jails. I don't know you from the detention centers. I haven't been in the same detention centers or jails that you have. What other prisons you been in? And while he's naming the prisons, he names the prison in Receiving. I know where I know you from. You made the little gang dude cry. You was there for that? Yeah, we were at the same Receiving. And the Receiving we were at, got shut down. We were in the category of the last 90 guys to ever do Receiving at this place because the Receiving section of it was shut down and they started shipping us immediately. Overnight, the reception center emptied out and they turned it into general population. He had a situation when he came in with this gang situation, with his stuff getting stolen. And I made an announcement. I talked in that video. I watched all these dudes get their stuff stolen. I made an announcement one day addressing the sneak shit, the thieving, the little sneaky rat type style they had when it came to stealing. I addressed it. I would not be the only guy to ever address the situation. Now, I'm Receiving, I had some dudes that I stood alongside that were good men, that had done bad things in the streets, that had broken the law, and that were doing their time. Guys that were from Richmond, rest in peace, Goldie, my old head. I more or less fell up under actual convicts. I like to surround myself with men that had done time. I wasn't into the games. I was 24, 25-ish at the time. I wasn't into running around playing all day. I've always been told I have an old soul. So I more or less flocked and had convicts gravitate towards me. I didn't play the games these little dudes did. And I wouldn't be the only one that made an announcement when I watched somebody's stuff get stolen one time. I remember I stood up in front of everybody and I said, hey, you steal my stuff. I know who's doing the stealing. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to make another announcement. I'm going to come straight to you and I'm going to do what I got to do. Try me if you like to. Try me like you tried him and you'll see what happens. My homeboys, Goldie and them, they had also made the same announcement where they said, we can't respect no thief. The stealing in here has got to stop. You want somebody's stuff, be a man and go take it. Don't be a thief. Nobody respects a thief. John Black's stuff got stolen when we was on yard one day. He knows who's doing the stealing. I know who's doing the stealing. We've all, at some point or another, seen somebody creep over there and steal somebody's stuff. John Black didn't waste no time. He came straight in, noticed his stuff was missing, his lockers open. They would bend these doors. It's a tall locker. They would bend the top, and then they would bend the bottom. And we used to take the doors, and we would line the inside of our doors. We'd take the razors you shave with, pop the razors open, and use tape and stick razors all on the inside. So if you grabbed it and peeled it, it would fillet the meat off of your little thieving ass fingers. And then we're just going to follow the blood trail to your bunk and beat your ass up because we know you did it. Your blood's all on my locker. The trail led to your bed. That's your ass. John Black comes in. His stuff has been stolen. He's looking for the dude that he knows does all the stealing. He yells up front to one of his homeboys, hey, you seen such and such? This dude is at a program. They would, when you first come in, you have to get TB shots. And they have different little programs you do while you're in Receiving that also helps classify you. This dude is stole all John Black's stuff, and then they called program, and he slid out to the program. Well, in the meantime, Rhett comes back in. You got to wait for these guys to come back from the program. He's heated, waiting on this dude to come back. Mind you now, I'm telling y'all, this is where I know John Black from, right? He's made this announcement, and as he's made this announcement, the guard in the booth overhears him. She calls in another officer and tells them there's something going on. We got a guy in here snapping. He's probably about to lead to violence. You need to come in here and intervene. He's making this announcement. The program dudes come back. John Black approaches the dude in the front and shoves him. This dude stumbles backwards, and John rushes up on him. About that time, a guard comes in and, hey, stop. He intervenes and saves the little gang dude. Matter of fact, both of y'all step out into the vestibule. Now, most of these buildings, the way they're set up, is a big square, and there's a wall that divides the middle. Then there's a control booth right in the center when you first come in. When you first come in the building, there's 2 sets of doors, and that's just a big waiting area. Then there's a door to your right and your left that lets you into either 100 or 200, or A unit or B unit. They tell them go into the vestibule, which was a rookie mistake. You're supposed to stand there with them. If you see they're about to get to violence, the last thing you do is put them two in a small area by themselves and think that everything is going to be okay. So the dude that did the stuff stepped into the vestibule, and John Black stepped into the vestibule, and meanwhile you got all these gang members coming from the back because that's their homeboy, right? He's trapped in the vestibule with the dude that he just stole from. The officer gets on the radio, and we're all standing in the front of the day room where the payphones are, and the little tables where we play chess, and there's a bookshelf there, and you know, you got the TV on the wall, and we're kind of just watching all this unfold. All these gang members coming from the back, because one of theirs is trapped in the front. He's in a section to where, in this little cubby area where they got these two inmates standing in this vestibule, they can't get in there to help him. And the guard is standing there in front of us, and he's talking to the lady in control booth. What did you see? What's going on? Is anybody else involved? When all hell breaks loose, John grabs this dude and slams him against the window and just commences to doing what he wants. When he hit the dude screamed like a girl. Boom! Ah! John grabbed him, ricochets him off the ground, picks him, slams him over, and just sits down on him and just starts beating on him, beating on him, beating on him. All this dude's gang homeboys are beating on the glass. Open the door, telling the guard to open the door. The guard's not going to open the door. And they're watching through the glass as John is just feeding these things to this dude, beating this dude's ass. All those non-affiliated gang members that have stood there and watched these dudes steal this stuff time and time again were smiling. Look at your homeboy crying. Dude was crying. John punished this dude for about another 30, 45 seconds before those 2 doors on the front of the building opened up, and a whole bunch of guards, they call a code, and when they do, any officer near that vicinity comes running. Doesn't matter what's going on unless you're in a control booth. If you're an officer walking the floor, walking the yard, out front of the buildings, you report to that area. This officer is radioed, and all these officers come running because there's an active fight. And John, by now, has done completely wrecked this little rat thief. He has demolished him right there in front of all this dude's gang homeboys, right? They run in, John stands up, backs up. Dude is on the ground, all pissed up, pissed all over himself. Used to wear these dark blue jeans, and when you peed or you got them wet, just a little bit of, you spilled something on it, you could see it. It would almost turn black. This dude is pissed all over himself. And he did this because, well, he thought he was safe. He was stealing because, well, there's no way you can get your hands on me one-on-one. You see all these dudes over here? Yeah, gang, gang. But no, the officer messed up, put them both in the vestibule together to see what was going on, thinking that it wasn't as big as what he just saw. He figured they were standing there. After a few seconds, he would step in. Hey, what's the problem? Why are y'all arguing? Can't be fighting. What's going on? But in the time it took him to put them in there and ask the other officer what was going on, John Black saw his opportunity and went in on him, which is what he should have done. Because had he done it inside that dorm area, oh, they'd have mobbed down on him. They'd have mobbed down on him. He might have got a couple hits off before they started stomping him. And that many people, you can't win the fight. The most you can do is just try to get your thing off on one of them or grab one of them and use them as a shield. I've done it. I know other guys that have done it. You grab a hold of the smallest one in that gang or whoever's closest to you that you know you can overpower, and you kind of use them as a shield to protect you from the other guys. You fall to the ground, take him with you, and roll, and keep him on top of you. That way, as they're kicking, you can use him as a shield. John Black demolished that little gang dude in that vestibule. For all of us, it was 100% a win. We're tired of watching the gangs mob down on dudes. We're tired of watching these nobodies that if you didn't have these dudes stand behind you, act like you're somebody. That without them, you wouldn't do nothing. That on a one-on-one tip, you would get all this broke. And John Black would be the first one to show them, y'all are not untouchable. They ended up putting him in the hole, which it didn't matter. They were shutting down the receiving section anyway. He wasn't going to be there much longer. And he ended up getting shipped off to another prison. And then he ended up getting shipped to Greensville, where I ran into him again. And I talked to him about it, and I asked him, I said, did you ever get any flack off of that? Like when you got to the next prison, I know you beat up a gang member. There's usually going to be some repercussions for me. Nah, I ain't got no problems. Anywhere I've ever got, Jay, I've held mine down just like I do it here. I don't respect that gang shit, man. That was the story of John Black. John Black, the man that grabbed the hold of one of them, made him piss all over himself, made him cry. That dude cried. The dude was in that vestibule screaming like a little, Was it worth it? When you signed up for that gang, you signed up thinking that could never happen. But it did, and it can. Let's get into John Black. You're watching, man. Salute and shout out to you, John Black. Let's get into the next story. Now, not everybody joins gangs for protection. Not everybody. I have talked to guys that grew up. Let me get a little more comfortable. I have talked to guys that grew up in that lifestyle. That grew up in gang-infested neighborhoods. Richard Cabral had a spot on the Mayans series on TV. Is now a motivational speaker. I think he was from East Los Angeles. I watched some of his motivational speeches. Powerful. Hearing his breakdown on why he joined a gang, what brought him into the gang life, really changed how I looked at it. Some guys grow up in that. Some guys have no family, no loved ones. Their household, their home is chaotic. There's no love in it. And the streets, their neighborhoods are filled with children just like them that go through the same things they do. So they resort to the streets. They find their family in the streets. And they join these gangs. Same thing happens for some guys in prisons. They never really had a family. They never really had anybody that cared about them. So they're easily influenced. They're easily, easy to seek out. They're easy to spot. They're insecure. They're afraid. They're standoffish. They don't act like everybody else. And the gangs will pull them in. Show them love. Unity. Protection. Brotherhood. I've met some good gang members. I've had a lot of different cellmates. I've met some dudes that's what they were. That was their set. That's what it was. They didn't agree with everything the gang might have done, and they were good dudes. Then I've had some dudes in my cell that gang bang that was just like, the sooner I get this dude out of my cell, the better. I hate this dude. I hate this situation. I hate everything he talks about. This dude is a complete moron, and it's clear he's only part of this gang because without them, he would be a victim in this place. I've had very few occasions where I got a one-on-one with a gang member. General rule is if one of them rides, all of them ride, which I do not agree with. I agree with the thought process. If the man he's beefing with is 7 foot tall and he's 5 foot tall, then I could see where it would warrant several guys getting involved. I mean, I guess I can see it making sense. But I don't see where when it's I'm my size and you're the same size as me and we have a problem where there should be a problem with me and you handling it. Especially when a lot of these guys only run around starting stuff because they know their gang's not going to let me do anything to them. They know they can say it, do it, get away with it because they've got a small army behind them. Certain gangs, hands down, you're not getting a one-on-one. Okay, what the situation is, what happened, not going to happen. If you want to fight, we're all going to jump in, we'll go mob one, you're going to stomp you. That was a general thought process of the gangs. I can't say this. A lot of the Crip homies, the bigger homies, were famous for letting their Crip dudes get one-on-ones. A lot of these Crip sets believed in the one-on-one. They had to show the people around them, the other gangs, the inmates, look, we ain't bullies. Everybody we got with us, if he ain't solid, will show us. What'd he do? And they'll all get together and congregate and come to an agreement on whether they're going to jump you or they're going to let you get the one-on-one. I'm not going to put any names, but I'm going to talk about a story that happened here recently with a homeboy of mine, right, that's locked up that I talked to the other day. He ends up at this camp, and I've been there before, and I'm talking to him, and I'm like, place is a nightmare. I said, it's just, there's a lot of youngins there. The gangs are out of control. 7 out of 10 inmates there are gang affiliated or in a gang. And he was like, nah, this place is laid back, Jay. I like it here. I said, it must have changed, man, because it wasn't like that when I was there. I stayed getting in trouble because you had YOs, youthful offenders. So you got juveniles and then dudes 18, 19, 20, 21 that's brains aren't fully developed, that are still acting like children, surrounded by grown men. And you're not trying to deal with a bunch of childish games all day. It's a dorm environment. So there's really no peace. I will take a cell. I don't want to be incarcerated, but if I have to choose a setting for incarceration, put me in a cell. I hated the dorm environment. I hated bunks lined up all the way down one wall, lined up down another wall, and then two sets of bunks lined up all the way down the middle, and just as far as you can see, an ocean of bunk beds, and just no privacy like I talked about with receiving. My homeboy says, nah, I like it here. Everything's all right, it's laid back. I'm doing all right here. I can chill, I'm bidding here. I talked to him last week, and all that has changed. These young boys like to play a lot. And when these young boys are gang members, they're easy to draw in. A grown man sees somebody 17, 18, 19 years old, and he's easily influenced. So that's an easy target. He's someone you can take, mold, and make him do whatever you want to. Wind his back up and take 20 of these little young dudes and send them off on missions to rob, steal, stab, do whatever, jump people. They just cause chaos throughout the prison at all given times. Talked to my homeboy, and he's like, just got out the hole. What happened? Everything was good. He said, Jay, they play too much, man. He said, you're trying to sleep in the middle of the night. You got dudes running by your bunk, which is a no-no. You don't walk in between somebody's bunk at any given moment, because if something comes up stolen and you cut through where I live at, you're suspect. So if your bunk is on that other wall there, walk around all the bunks to get to your bunks. Do not cut through the aisles. Do not cut between the bunk beds. You don't do that. That is somebody's personal space. Guys will sit chairs there to let you know don't go through there, and guys will move the chair and go through there. That's a sign of disrespect. He said these guys were playing all night long, playing shootouts, ducking behind bunks, throwing things at each other. And there's a certain set of gang members doing it. And he got tired of it. So he said he stood up in front of everybody like I did, like many had done before me. And he made an announcement. If you're going to say something, don't be a coward in doing it. Address the room. Say it so everybody can hear you. So everybody knows what it is. So there's no miscommunication. Lines can't get blurred. Somebody else says this, says that, and it's not what I said. Say it loud, say it proud, say it with your chest. Say it so everybody can hear it. He said, hey, attention, such and such pod. I'm not feeling the playing, man. We're all grown men. We're all locked up here. Stop playing. Don't be beside my bunk. Don't be in my area. We don't have much privacy. Respect the next man. Stop the playing. Act like grown-ups. Regardless of what your age is, we're all locked up together. Don't make this time harder than what it has to be. Carry yourself accordingly. Act like a man. And if you got a problem with what I just said, my bunk number is such and such. Come holler at me. Now's your opportunity. And I know he said this. My homeboy's not a liar. He's never told me something that if I check the facts on, somebody else is going to tell me something different. When he tells me something, I know that what he's saying is true 100% without anybody else having to verify it. And he's built like that. He's built like that to stand up in front of a whole room full of men and challenge them, gangs and all. He's been down a long time, and he is not gang affiliate. Just like myself, did a long bid, and I never, ever joined no gang. He said he made his announcement, said if anybody feels any type of way, y'all know where I sleep, come holler at me, and I'll give you the one-on-one. Anybody can get the one-on-one. I respect that. That's how men are supposed to do it. Crickets. Nobody makes a noise. He said in the next few days, one of the bigger dudes that's in this particular gang, he keeps hearing say little slick stuff, but he's not saying it to him. He's saying it indirectly. Man, I ain't feeling that shit homeboy was talking. Yeah, man, I ain't really feeling like how he addressed it, like I feel like he was talking to us. My homeboy said he heard it several times. Now, when he told me, he's like, Jay, they're deep. He was like, in my dorm, there's 30, if not more, of them where I sleep in my dorm. 30 plus of that gang affiliated with that dude that's making these comments. He's like, so I let it ride a couple times because of how deep they were, but you know how I am. If you're saying something indirectly or directly to me, I'm going to eventually speak on it. I said what I said. Now I'm going to stand on mine and I'm going to address you. He said, so dude indirectly said a couple times, man, I ain't really feeling what homeboy's talking about that. Man, y'all know I sleep, blah, blah, blah. He said, so we stepped the dude. I was like, who you talking about, man? You keep saying you're not feeling. Are you talking about me and what I said? Because if you are, you already know what it is. Like, he said, but before he could finish his one-on-one altercation with this dude, he comes all the gang members all out the woodwork to stand behind this dude. He said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm going to go to your big homie. Because I'm tight with your big homie. And I'm going to line it up so that me and you can see each other since you got a problem with what I said. And you want to disrespect everybody else in here. And we're going to see what it is. He goes to the big homie. The big homie is the guy that oversees all of them and says, hey, I addressed it. I announced it. You was there. You heard what I said. Dude keeps running his mouth. You can check him or I'm going to check him. But either way, something's got to happen. Dude says, this dude is also, the big homie is going home in a few days. He says, you know what? I'm going to let y'all shoot the one. Great. But some of the other homeboys ain't feeling that, so you might have to fight a couple of them. He said, I don't care. I don't care how many I have to fight. Let me get the one-on-one. And then anybody else that feels type of way, after I'm done fighting him, I'll fight him. If he feels type of way, when I'm done fighting him, I'll fight him. And I know he will because I've seen it done with my own eyes. I've watched him do it. The big homie goes home before anybody knows. This just happened. The big homie goes home unannounced. Everybody knew he was going home, but they didn't know he was going home so soon. Said he wakes up one morning and looks back there and the dude's bunk is empty. So now the little bit of order they had is gone. The one guy that called the shots in there, that controlled everybody, that kept the violence to a minimum, that was responsible for what everybody else did, has now gone. There is nobody now to see all these little knucklehead dudes. He said, so now when he realizes the big homie is gone, the whole atmosphere has changed. Like they're 100% going to bank him. He said he knew what it was. He heard the whispering. So at this place in particular, we have the lockers. And on the lockers, you get a combination lock. They're either red, blue, or black. Never know which color you're going to get. Them locks. Them locks are dangerous. That lock tied on the end of a belt or looped through a sock and tied in a knot and turned into a weapon is a game changer. One in each hand is an equalizer. You can lay down the law with two of them in your hands versus a whole squad full of dudes. Doesn't take long. He said a couple hours into the morning, he hears the rumors. They're going to jump him. They're going to do this and that. So he grabs his lock, grabs the dude he shares a cut with's lock, puts them both on socks, ties them in knots, drops them down the front of his pants, and says, what's up? What's up? I said what I said. Y'all disrespecting everybody in here. I've been down too long to be disrespected like this. I'm tired of the games. Y'all bickering, whispering like a bunch of little bitches. I'm supposed to be scared because you're in the gang. What's up? When y'all want to do it? You ain't said nothing. Let's go in the bathroom. You said, y'all trying to bank me or y'all want the one-on-one? Now, you know what it is. Ain't no one-on-ones popping off. So y'all some bitches. Y'all want to bank me. You won't see me. You'll stand there and talk, but you won't see me one-on-one. You're basically telling me it's a bank game, right? That's what y'all gonna do. Bank time? Yeah, you know what it is. We mobbing down on you. We all one right here. He told him, puss shit. I'm not, nah. All right, that's what it is. Said he goes in the bathroom and says, you know, the walls are low in the bathroom. It's about maybe right at 6 foot high of the walls, and the top of the walls are open. Said he goes ahead and says, I'm not ducking none of this, man. We're gonna get this over with right now. He goes in the bathroom and says, y'all know where I'm at. Come on, come get it. He said before he could fully finish making his announcement, the doors open and they flooded in. He said, Jay, I was honestly gonna rock out with dude and just rumble the dude one-on-one. But when the doors open and all these dudes come flooding through the doors, like, he said, Jay, I'm talking a lot of dudes coming in at once. He said, I pulled them locks out and I went to work on their asses. He said, the first dude comes to the door, I hit him, boom. He'll be home soon enough, and I'll let him tell you this story, word for word. He said, I hit the first dude, boom, right across his face. And when I did, I hit him in his mouth, and it broke his teeth. He said, I took the other lock, and he said, I got one in each hand. I brung it down across the next dude's head, boom, popped the top of his head. He said, blood went everywhere. He said, from there, I just started swinging him. He said, now you've got one dude standing there with blood coming all out of his mouth, teeth knocked out. Another dude laying on the floor with his head cracked open. He said, I'm whooping their asses with these locks, Jay. He said, now they're running out the bathroom and running away from me. And I'll come out the bathroom and I'm busting them. Boom, boom. going at him with these locks. I'm tired of these little dudes being disrespectful. I'm tired of thinking they're going to run something because they're gang affiliated. They took him and threw him in the hole. He just got out, called me from somebody else's PIN number. We kind of talked in a certain language, referencing himself as someone else, so that he could break down the story on what had just happened and why he had just gotten out the hole. I love this dude, man. He is family to me. And I know how he is. And I have not wanted to be locked up since I've been free. But for the first time since I've been out, I kind of wished I could teleport myself back into prison for just a few hours. He came out the hole. There's a war waiting on him. He honestly said, Jay, I thought they would have shit me. Like, I just got sent to the hole for knocking dudes' teeth out, cracking dudes' head. He said, but the gang members kept it solid. They didn't tell on me. They want me back on the yard so they can retaliate. Got dude walking around here now with no teeth in his mouth. Other dude's got staples all the way across the top of his head. They want some get back. He comes out the hole. But now he doesn't just have beef with this gang. He's got beef with another gang as well, because them being the gangs, they're supposed to set the tone. They're supposed to be the alphas in there. So now he's got two different gangs that feel some type of way. Well, the other gang still got a big homie there, so he goes and hollers at them. And they got two actual Crip dudes that are talking shit on the other side of the compound. He says, you know me from another spread being another prison. Two dudes you got that fall up under you are running their mouth. Words made it back to me. I ain't no bitch. I want to see them one-on-one. Grant me my one-on-one. Be a man about it and don't let them jump me. And let me see your dudes one-on-one. Since they're so tough, since they're about that life, send them to me. Let me see them one-on-one. He agreed. And the big dude came over there and brought the two dudes. And these two dudes have to fight. Because if they don't fight, they're going to get violated by their gang. Their gang is going to jump them for ducking the call out, for ducking the fade. Dusted their asses off on the one-on-one. Fought the one dude, punished him. Left him looking like Willie Lump. Knots all over his face. Face so mangled. Said he ran through him like nothing. He said when he got to the second dude, he was just getting started as they squared off. He said the first dude didn't even land a punch, Jay. He said, I punished that boy like that boy didn't know what he was in for. He did not know who he was messing with. He said when I got to the second dude, I had just gotten started. He said my adrenaline hadn't even peaked yet. He said, and I just wrecked him. I no longer have beef with that gang. He said, but Jay, I still got beef with all these other dudes. He said, now they've put me on the other side of the yard, so I know it's going to pop off. It's either going to pop off in the chow hall, it's going to pop off when we're walking down what we call the boulevard, which is a section of concrete that everybody's got to travel when they're going to chow or you're going to class. There's just one section of concrete that most compounds call the boulevard. He said, and inmates are passing, and you might pass a group going back to another building where that building used to be in. There they all are. There they come by. He said, it's got to happen, Jay. And I'm going to show him what it is. And I gave him the best advice I knew how to give him. And y'all can call it whatever you want when I say what I'm about to say. I said, do it out in the open. Bro, do it out in the open. You want to do it where if it gets too crazy, the guards in them can step in and stop it. Because you don't need to kill nobody. You don't want to permanently mess somebody up like that. And if you ain't got nobody backing you, you versus 30 people, it's a no-brainer. It's too many people. Do it out in the open. You know who you primarily have beef with. The first time you see him and you cross paths with him, he's most likely not going to have everybody with him. If you catch him coming back from the visiting room, he's going to be by himself. If you catch him coming back from the program, he's probably going to be by himself. And if not, he's going to only have one or two of his homeboys. When you see him, you know what you got to do, man. You have to finish this. You have to set it off. And you have to shut him down. Because he's the ringleader now, right? He's the one everybody else that's in that gang falls under now. He's the one, since he's got the biggest mouth and he's got the most pull and he's making the most noise, that you're going to have to deal with. Shut him down. This story right here is to be continued. It will go down here soon. He will do what he knows he's got to do. Not all of us need a gang. Some of us do stand up for ourselves. Now, I have no problem with nobody's gangs. Nobody gangbanging. You do what you want. That has nothing to do with me. That's not my life. Let me kill some of these lights. That's not my life. You want to join a gang? Cool. I don't care. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about certain individuals, certain situations. And if you're one of the ones that carries yourself according to what I've been talking about today, then I guess you could catch feelings. But the story I just told y'all is something that just allegedly transpired. Something that will allegedly play out. Dudes feel like when you put more guys behind them, they're untouchable. Like they're King Kong. But you get them like John Black did on some one-on-one. Every now and then you can catch one that's solid. There are some of them dudes are solid and can stand on their own and don't need that gang. But a whole large majority of them need that gang. And they won't let you get that one-on-one because they're scared. That's why they joined in the first place. Some of y'all, not all of y'all, some of them joined because they were scared. Some of them joined, not all of y'all, some of y'all, because they needed that extra backup. Because without that backup, they're goldfish swimming in a pool full of sharks. The motor convicts, the men that have been down 20, 25, 30 years, they're sharks. You come in there with that rah-rah, making all that noise. You're a goldfish, they'll eat you alive. So what do? You go find all the other goldfish and together y'all become like a little pack of piranhas. I don't miss those times, man. I don't miss the gangs. I don't miss the fighting. I don't miss the chaos, the stupidity. That all comes with incarceration. That was my fault. I committed my crimes. I left behind this beautiful world to go be a part of that. I did that. I have no one to blame but you, the guy watching me right now, rant and yell at this camera. You, the guy that breaks the law and thinks he's untouchable. You are the guy that will ultimately have to walk in my shoes and look back on my videos as you're watching it play out, just like I said in real life, as you're going through it. As it's you versus everybody. You're going to look back on these videos. Remember when I tell you to stop now. Stop. Live a normal life. Don't do what I did. Don't have to spend all those years incarcerated only to realize it's stupid. It's stupid. You're going to live a life full of regret. I wake up and I go to sleep every day regretting leaving my son out here to fend for himself for a decade. I regret the time I can't get back. I can't get that time back. I can never go back to when he was 7 and be there at that football game. I can't. But I can make sure, damn sure that moving forward, I'm the best father in the world. I can make sure for my youngin', for my little boy that I've now got, that I'm there for that game. I can make sure that I never leave him out here in this crazy world by himself. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody's got an excuse on why they do what they do. Or I was just trying to feed my family. What happens when you get caught? Now what happens to the family? Now the family's got to come together to try to feed you. Use your brain, people. Use your brain. Now, today's video, I gotta say this because some people are just so narrow-minded that they'll take it some type of way. Today's video was not aimed at any particular organization or gang members as a whole. It was aimed at these dudes that do this type of stuff. If you joined a gang because you're scared, that's what it is. That's why you joined. If you joined it because you needed to feel unity, okay, that's why you joined. If you joined it just because you saw something in there that you felt you needed to be a part of, that's why you joined. I can't speak for everybody. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a reason for why they do what they do, why they did what they did. So if it don't apply, let it fly. Me, my opinion, And this is my opinion. You can listen to him, listen to her, listen to them. You don't have to be in no gang to be solid. You can rock out by yourself. I started going in at a very young age. I came out in my mid-30s after a decade had passed. I went in solo dolo on my own 10 by myself, and I walked out solo dolo on my 10 by myself with no affiliations. I don't live in a state where when you go in you have to be a part of this, you have to go over there with them. I live in a state where when you come in, you have the option of what you're going to do and who you're going to be. I could have chose to gangbang. I had so many opportunities, so many offers. There's times I fought one-on-one and it would make its way back. I've had dudes come to my cell and be like, what's up, man? You're a good look for us. We need you with us, Jay. Come be with us. You won't have to deal with that no more. You won't never fight one-on-one again. We got you. And I turned it down. No. Because I wanted to come home and be a dad. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to be a civilian with no ties. No ties. I didn't want to come out here and forever be attached to something that I partook, in prison. I didn't want that. So I said no. With what my friends dealing with, I've been there. I've dealt with it. I got jumped my first day. And hadn't done nothing to nobody. I got jumped my first day. Because I wasn't in a gang. Had I been in a gang, had I thrown up some sets, I'd have never got jumped. But I stood on my own. And to this day, I stand on my own. I'm not who I used to be. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. I spread a message. I come on here to try to help others. As I talked to my homeboy the other day, it brought back so many familiar memories, so many familiar feelings, because I've been in that situation. And I hate that I can't be there for him. But I also hate that he didn't listen to me. Just like I preached to y'all, I preached to him. Before he went and caught this new bid, I preached. He didn't listen. And now he's in the situation he's in because he didn't listen. A lot of y'all will find yourselves in that situation because you did not listen. It's up to you. You wake up every day. This is your life. Live it however you want to. You have the option to do all these different things. All you got to do is make the wrong choice once, and all the other options you have, they go away. Now you're going to have the option of, do I go eat beans for lunch? Do I go to Rec? I got this little bubble sheet. Do I want chicken soups or beef soups? How many Dr. Peppers do I want? Yeah, there's your options. There's your options. But anyways, these jails, detention centers, these prisons, these facilities, just crazier worlds inside of a already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. And y'all know how we do. Salute.